When everything's going out and nothing's going in, it's draining. And that's what happens to Elijah. He's drained. He's tired. He has no friends. He has no fellowship. He's doing the work of God, standing in power and calling down fire from heaven, bless God. Fire! Fire! Glory to God. The man of God is calling down fire. The man is just hiding. Because often who you are publicly will draw away from who you are privately until you become so much a persona that you cease to be a person. And the person ends up under the juniper tree, and he's exhausted, and he's worn out, and emotionally he's frustrated, and it's affecting his perception of his situation. Because when you are tired and when you are lonely, you do not perceive your own situation correctly. And he thinks, even I only am the only one left. Glory to God. There's a bunch of preachers in the world who think they're the only one left. The only one left and the only one right. And they do blogs about the rest of us. Because, bless God, they're the only ones standing for God. And what has happened to them is that they have lost perception of all the miracles that Jesus did in the Bible. The most prominent miracle was the healing of the blind. Because if there were one thing that the enemy could take away from you, it would be your ability to see. Prophet, you're a seer. And when you're not a sayer, you're a seer. And when you don't see things correctly, your ministry's over. Perception that you're the only one standing for God and the only one right means you're tired and you're burnt out, and the enemy has tricked you into a false perception of your situation. God said, I've got 7,000 prophets. You're not the only one. I got 7,000. I can make another one look just like you. That's what my mother used to tell me. She said, I'll beat you to death and tell God you died. That's a terrible thing to tell a child. And if that wasn't enough, she said, me and your daddy have another one look just like you. They won't even know you're gone. I said, dang, mama.
Sometimes we have to ask ourselves, what's using my life? Heard a guy give a lecture one time that says, we are today what we were when. And he was talking about the fact that we, to a great extent, behave, think, react because of some previous experience that we've had. One of the things that we know about life is that it is always changing. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Sometimes things go real well, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes you're happy, and sometimes you're sad. Now that's that thing called life. And when we begin to understand and know that, accepting that reality that we will never ever have things just on an even keel all the time, that you're going to have some ups and you're going to have some downs, but during those down moments, that's where the growth takes place. That's where the work is. See, anybody can feel good when they have their health, their bills are paid, they have happy relationships, the children are acting normal, business is successful. Anybody could be positive then. Anybody can have a larger vision then. Anybody can have faith under those kinds of circumstances. Am I correct? See, but the real challenge of growth, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, comes when you get knocked down. Somebody said that adversity introduces a man to himself or a woman. How you handle it, that's where the growth takes place.
At a time in my life when I needed some new ideas to help change the direction of my life. I wasn't destitute at the time, but I certainly needed some help. I guess we could all use a little help at age 25. Let me take a minute to tell you how it happened. I had gotten off to a great start in life. I was raised in farm country in Idaho, a small community of about 5,000 people, not far from the Snake River, in the southwest corner of the state. A great place to grow up. In fact, my parents still live in this small farm community. My father is 82 years old, my mother 75, and they are still healthy and doing very well, as active now as they have ever been. I'm very proud of them, and they have always been a great example for me. After graduating from high school, I went to 1 year of college, and then I decided I was smart enough, so I quit, which was one of my major mistakes. Among many major mistakes I made in those early days. But I was ambitious and willing to work hard, and figured I wouldn't have any trouble getting a job, which turned out to be accurate. So with a head full of dreams and ambitions, I started my first job. About 3 years later, I got married, made lots of promises, worked hard, and a couple of years later started a family. And at age 25, I started taking a new look at my life. My weekly paycheck amounted to the grand total of $57. I was far behind on my promises, behind on my bills, and discouraged. I was far from making the progress I thought I should have made. I was willing to work hard. That was not my problem. But it was clear that it was going to take more than hard work. And I didn't want to wind up at age 60 broke needing assistance like so many people I saw around me, not in the richest country in the world. So what do you do to change the direction of your life? I thought, well, I should go back to school. 1 year of college doesn't look that good on an application. But now with my family starting, going back to school seemed like a tough decision. I didn't have any money to start my own business. Money was one of my problems. I always had far too much month left over at the end of the money, if you've ever been in that position. I remember one time losing $10 and I was physically ill for 2 days over a $10 bill. Some of my friends tried to be cheerful. They said, look, maybe some poor person who needed it found it. But that was not really helpful. I must admit at that time in my life, benevolence had not yet seized me. I was the person who needed to find $10, not lose 10. So that's where I was at that time in my life, behind on my dreams, and constantly wondering what I could possibly do to change my life for the better. Well, at age 25, good fortune came my way. And many times it's difficult to explain good fortune. Why do unique things happen to you when they do? I don't know. Part of that is a mystery to me. However, my good fortune was meeting a man, a very unique and successful man. His name was Mr. Earl Schoaf. When I met him, I said to myself, I would give anything to be like him. I wonder what it would take. Well, to make a long story short, this very special gentleman took a liking to me, and a few months after I met him, he hired me, and I went to work for him. I spent the next 5 years working for him in several of his businesses, and then, unfortunately, he died. But I did get to spend 5 years with this remarkable man, and the best thing he gave me during that 5 years was not a job. The best thing he gave me was the benefit of his philosophy, the fundamentals of living successfully, how to be wealthy, how to be happy. And sure enough, his ideas worked for me.
My mom and dad are yelling at each other. My mom's saying things to my father, you haven't taken care of us. Pretty painful moment. And the door happens, and I go to open the door, and there's this tall guy standing there with these big bags of food, and on the ground beside him he had this pan with uncooked turkey. And he said, is your father here? And I said, just one moment. And I sprinted to get my dad, thinking this was going to be the most euphoric moment you could possibly imagine. Like God had come by and surprised us, somebody cared about us, whatever you wanted to frame it. And my father came to the front door begrudgingly. When he saw the man, he got very angry, and he said, we don't take charity. And he went to slam the door. And the man was a very tall guy, and he put his arm or shoulder against it. It kind of bounced off of him. And he said, sir, this is not charity. Everybody has tough times. And somebody knows you're in need, and they want you to have a beautiful Thanksgiving. Please accept this gift. My father got even more intense, started saying, I don't accept charity. And this time the man put his foot there and bounced off of it. And then he said something to my father that I thought my father would hit him. He looked at my father and said, he looked at me in the background and said, don't let your family suffer because of your ego. It was intense words to say.
You're broke, and until you admit where you are and define where you are and quit playing it cool and trying to fool everybody about where you are, you're going to keep losing. Let me be real with you. Now that I've been funny with you, now we're going to get real. Stop bullshitting everybody. You're not fooling anybody. You talk to a real wealthy man, I know what you really got going on. And by the way, your Uncle Larry, the lawyer, making $350,000 a year, that ain't money. That's not money. If you're not at least at multiple seven figures in this world, you are still broke. Trust me. My brother-in-law makes $280,000. He lives in Chino Hills. He can't even afford to buy a damn house right now where he lives because he can't save. Now, if he had these strategies, he probably could do it, right? But do not fool yourself that you got it going, or you need to be in a big damn hurry. Time is running out on you. There's 86,400 seconds in a day. The separator between me and you and people that win and lose is what we do with those seconds. And you're too slow. You're too cool. You're too casual. You think too much. You need to get in a hurry. The separator in this room, you're all learning the same things. The separator is going to be who takes massive action quickly. You all learn the same things. I know all you know. Lots of guys know what I know. Why aren't they wealthy? Why don't they have a $40 million jet? Why don't they live oceanfront in Laguna Beach? Why don't they have the most unbelievable homes in the world in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho? Why don't they retire their parents? Why don't, when their daughter breaks their nose, they go to an urgent care and some doofus snaps it back? I go to a $25,000 surgeon, write a check and don't think about it for my kid. And I'm the guy driving the Chrysler LeBaron, man. I'm the guy whose water was turned off. So listen to me. Look at my hands. You stop playing around. I'm looking around this room. Not all of you are 19 years old. Time's running out on you. It's serious. You got a chance to change your damn life with what you're learning here. And not just your life, the lives of your children and grandchildren forever. The choices I made, the work I put in, the difference I've made, my great-great-grandchildren will know the difference. There'll be a portrait of my grandchildren, me and my wife. These are the people that changed our family tree forever. You need to stop letting the damn world push your family around.